How direct should your feedback be for it to have an impact? Well, that mainly depends on the feedback recipient. The personal and cultural preference for directness in receiving feedback is just like adding chilies to a good curry. Some people love a hot curry, whilst others already break out in sweat when they just take a bite of a very mild curry. So this goes for feedback as well. Some people just love mild feedback and they just need one chili for the feedback to taste good and be clear. Other people need 4 feedback chilies in order for it to be palatable and understandable. So the feedback the receiver really determines whether the feedback is too empathic, just candid enough, or too aggressive. I usually pick up on feedback quite easily. This is a result of my Southern Dutch disposition and also receiving feedback regularly, almost daily, in workshops and in trainings. So 1 or 2 feedback chilies usually is enough for me to pick up on the feedback and for it to have an impact. Just like cooking a curry, adding too many chilies straight away can totally spoil the experience. And in comes one of my feedback giving screw-ups. So a couple of years ago, I was working with a German charity to promote female entrepreneurship. And we were doing a brainstorm together with other volunteers. And at some point, one of the volunteers said, why don't we use these visualization methods that we compare our charity to a car or to an animal? Like if our charity were a car, then it would be this model and this make. And one of the other volunteers said, oh, that is way too fluffy for me. I'm more practical. That doesn't really work for me. And I added, I've seen those so many times during my studies and it's quite 90s. And I really didn't want to do it again. Which turned out was quite insensitive, but also way too direct of me telling her that I thought the method was old-fashioned. At hindsight, I would say I gave her lots of feedback chilies and, unfortunately, a bit of rudeness, and she just needed half a chili. So, when in doubt about someone's feedback chili preference, make sure you start gently instead of serving some feedback that is way too hot and intensive. And in case the feedback doesn't land, then gradually add some more feedback chilies during the conversation. The experiment. Want to figure out what someone's personal preference for feedback chilies is? Then ask them whether they'd like their feedback served with 1, 2, 3 or 4 chilies. And after giving feedback, ask them how many chilies that particular piece of feedback contained. This way you can see how well you did compared to the desired intensity. So enjoy adding just the right number of feedback chilies to your feedback.